What you guys, today we'll take a look at can tweaking the Nvidia Control Panel boost performance and increase FPS in games. That's what we're going to take a look at in this video. Quite a few people are always talking about Nvidia Control Panel and how it can boost FPS. So that's what we're going to look at in this video. Now, I already know that this does absolutely nothing to performance boosting or FPS boosting in games. But I just thought I would share this with you just so you can understand how some of these silly videos end up on YouTube and on articles online where they claim that all of these settings in here can actually boost your performance of your PC and give you better FPS. Some people even claim up to, 30% FPS boost. I don't know what they're doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave this as default. And then what we're going to do is run some benchmark software to see what results we get. And then I'll go ahead and do your usual tweaks, which some of these very popular videos on YouTube claim that boosts performance. And I'll go ahead and do that. So I've reset all of these settings back to default here. And what we'll do is we'll get a base score for default settings without touching the Nvidia Control Panel. And then we'll run the same benchmark again with the same settings and see what sort of scores we get with tweaked Nvidia Control Panel. So let's go ahead and I'll run the benchmark here. I'm not going to run it all the way through on screen here because it will just bore you to tears, but I'll show you the end result right here so you can actually see what score we've got here. And what this is going to do is give you a result. I'll go into the control panel now and I'll run these tweaks which they recommend. They first recommend going into use my preference for performance here. So we're going to go on to performance, but look at that image. It looks absolutely gash. And again, it doesn't look great at all because obviously you took it away from quality, which looks really nice, and put it onto performance because that's what it's all about, is the performance, so we can get those massive gains in FPS. So let's go ahead and do that right there. And then we're going to move on to manage 3D settings. In here, there's a plethora of settings we can make changes to, and I'm going to go ahead and make loads of changes to these. Now, of course, we're going to be turning off all the FXAA and all the other settings here because we want to get as many FPS as possible, and most of these settings are pretty much okay as they are because as default, there's not much you can change in here that's going to gain much of a difference for you. I'm not going to go into what each of these are. I can do if you want to in another video, but personally, there's not much point because they don't really make much of a difference in some circumstances. Like this one here is if you want to, background applications max frame rate, you can turn this on or off. I'm going to leave this as off, but if you wanted to mess around with stuff like this, you can put this on and mess around with it. I wouldn't advise doing it. I'm just going to leave that off there. Now, you'll probably find that these settings are pretty much what other people on YouTube recommend. And I'll go through here and we'll get right down to some of these settings which will give us that massive boost that a lot of these YouTube channels claim. Now, this is not about, scoring points on other YouTube channels. This is about giving you the correct information. And basically, instead of giving you a load of misinformation, that will basically do me a load of good because I would get loads of views from it, but also mislead you into thinking that this will make a difference. So power management, we're going to put this on optimal power, but there is adaptive and there's also prefer maximum performance. I could have put it on there really to get more performance, but it's not going to make a massive difference. I can tell you that. But we'll put the other stuff onto performance here. So let's go through some of this stuff here. And let's just go ahead and change this anyway to the performance one just to make sure. There we go. Otherwise, someone will complain that I didn't put it on performance and I'm not doing it correctly. So we'll change that. And we'll come down here and we'll have a look at the shader cache size. And we'll change this to something like 10 gigabytes. And this will go onto our C drive, and again we'll do the textured filtering, and this will go on, and we're going to go down here and put the next one, which we've got a bunch of them here, texture filterings and quality and other stuff like that. Now obviously if it says quality, we don't want that. We're going to want obviously performance. So let's go ahead and put this on high performance because that's going to make a massive difference to our, our FPS. You can see it says performance here, but we'll go high because we want to get those magical big numbers like, say, for instance, 60 or 50 extra FPS, as they all claim, I suppose, on their thumbnails and in their videos. So we'll put that on there. So let's go ahead and do this as well. And we can also go into some of these other settings here. So what else have we got here that we can turn on? So we've got this one here. We'll just turn this on to always on. And that is pretty much it. Just do the virtual sync here, I think. Just turn this off so we don't have this on. So I'm going to turn the virtual sync off. There we go. And that's it. I think we're pretty much done. So yeah, what we've got at the moment is these settings right here. And this is the performance boost that everyone claims that you can get with these settings. So we've got that done. And what we're going to do next is going to just go through here and see some of the other settings we got. Now, display resolution. This is for refresh rate. This is only a test monitor, which is 75 Hertz. So I'll leave it on 75 Hertz. And again, we can override the color reference here, which is another one people like to talk about, and also boost up the contrast and other things like that to get different colors and different contrast on your monitor. This is not really going to improve performance whatsoever because this is all to do with graphical. So every person's going to have a different monitor, and this is the problem with these Nvidia Control Panel settings. Everyone's computer and everyone's monitor is going to be different, and it will reflect differently on the monitor and the computer that you've got and the graphics card that you've got. So pretty much I think we've got all of these settings pretty much done now, apart from the video and image quality here. We can go down to use Nvidia settings as people recommend here. So we'll probably come down here. Again, this is not going to change anything to do with FPS. But again, it's on there and we may as well do it just to make sure that we've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. So there we go. You can mess around here with these if you want to. I'm just going to leave that as it is here. And we're going to apply this and then we can do our benchmark. You've got a bit of gamma here and also some advanced. Oh, this is another one. Got to put this on full dynamic range here as well. Click yes to save these settings and then we are done. So let's go ahead and fire up our benchmark software and we'll run the same benchmark as we did with the default settings. And this should see that we have a massive improvement according to some of these YouTube videos out there. So what we're going to do is going to close the control panel off and we're going to open up the same software here. Now, some people may say that this is not a definitive test and it's not the correct way to show the results. Well, this is a benchmark and basically what it's going to do is run the exact identical benchmark for tweaked Nvidia Control Panel settings and default Nvidia Control Panel settings. And we now have these stats. So I'll take a screenshot of both of these and I'll put them into a nice image so you can see them. And we'll give it a juicy title, how to optimize Nvidia Control Panel for gaming and performance, just like those other YouTubers. And as you can see here, with the normal default control panel settings, the frames per second are 133.3 compared to tweaked 131.6. The score is 33.59 compared to 33.15 on the tweaked version. And the minimum FPS is 41.5 compared to 41.2 on the tweaked. And the maximum FPS is 295.2, and on the tweaked version, it is 268.8. So your maximum FPS has actually decreased by 26.4 by tweaking it. And also your overall score has decreased by 44 points, which to me says that default control panel settings is probably the way to go and just leave it as it is. Because when you start messing with it, this is exactly what can happen. You end up losing results and performance by doing what it is. Now, we did actually put this on performance, but because it says performance, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to gain performance. Sometimes having these tweak settings can actually hinder the actual graphics card and lower performance. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to gain loads of performance like some of the thumbnails that some of these people claim. Now, I'm not sure where they're getting their results from, because I've always known that this is never ever going to give you the performance that these people claim. It's all clickbait, and it's to get you to watch the video, and literally there's hundreds of thousands of views on a lot of these videos where people actually believe that this is actually going to improve performance and boost your FPS in games. And again, all they're doing is actually using clickbait, or they're just misleading you. And this is what it's all about, these videos. They're not to actually discredit anyone in any way, shape or form. It's just to give you proper information with proof to back it up. And you can see it right here. So stop being so gullible and believe in everything you read on the internet or everything you see on the internet, because it's not always true. And in these systems that people start tweaking, and it's not just this, there's tons of other tweaks that people end up breaking their computer and they end up having to reset Windows because it just doesn't work. You are not going to be able to get a massive improvement in performance and FPS by just messing around in the Nvidia Control Panel. And this can be said for a load of other tweaks out there. And I can sit there and make videos on some of these other tweaks that they do, which will do absolutely nothing. There's two tried and trusted ways of boosting performance inside your computer, and that is upgrading to better hardware, or you can actually overclock the system or overclock the GPU. These are two tried and trusted ways of boosting performance. Changing out your mechanical hard drives to SSDs, and you can also give it a little bit more RAM or faster RAM. It's going to give you a little bit more improvement in FPS. And that is pretty much it. Anyway, I think that is going to be about it for this video. Hope this video has been some sort of help to you. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the next video, or I'll see you on the Discord server. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.